I see we have people coming in. As always, welcome. Tell us where you are coming in from, where you're viewing from, where you're watching from, so we can kind of know where you are. And if you have the code 2519 issue, let us know too, because we all struggling together.
So cute.
All right. So I guess we will go ahead and get started, and people can come in and as they please. Yeah, for those that are on Facebook, make sure if you want to leave a comment, make sure that you go to StreamYard and register there so we can see who you are, because I won't know who's commenting unless you do that. So again, make sure you do that. All right, guys. I like to be prompt, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Everybody out there, welcome, welcome, welcome to By Design with Dr. Erika, a show focused on highlighting amazing women who are stepping out of the box, saying screw the expectations of society, rediscovering their purpose, and essentially living the life they were designed for. Today, I am super excited because we are joined by an international superstar career coach, Daphne Valcin. Daphne launched her company, Daphne Valcin Coaching, in 2014. And in those short 6 years, she has contributed to the career and business development of almost 200 clients in 16 states and in the UK and in China. China. Okay, we'll get to that. So, as a results-driven business coach, Daphne's clients have grown their business revenues anywhere between 3 and 10 times as a result of her expertise coaching. And as part of her career coaching and executive coaching, her clients have also seen increases in their salaries as high as 30%. She has also been recognized as one of the top 20 career coaches in Miami and has been featured in Forbes.com. So when I told y'all she was an international superstar, I won't playing. So, Daphne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for my bio. I was like, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Thank you so much. International superstar, dear. But I gotta know, China. So did you pick up any Chinese, any Mandarin?
No. See what happened? Let me tell you what happened. So my clients, so I've always done virtual coaching. I've just done a few in-person, like one-on-one coaching clients. But what ended up happening was I started having clients in certain regions, and those clients recommended me to other clients in other states, and they recommended me to other clients in other states. And then one recommended me to somebody who was in China. So, and then somebody else recommended me to someone who was in the UK. So that's what happened. So I learned about China as that client was like moving around as well. But yeah, so I don't know any Mandarin, but it would be good if I did.
No worries. That can be on the bucket list, things to do later. That's funny. So, in that whole bio of everything that you've been doing, I want to take us back a little bit, just, to the beginning of how you even discovered you wanted to do something like this. Like, how did that come about in your life?
That's a really good question. So I feel like, according to a lot of the assessments that I do, that I've done in the past, I feel like I've been identified as someone who tends to be kind of like an empath. Like if there's people around me and they're not doing well, I'm like, I'm not doing well either, but I want you to feel better. So what can I do to help you feel better? That's kind of been how I was like elementary school and onwards, a helper. Like if someone drops their books, I'm there to like help them pick it up. Or if they're crying, I'm helping them. Or in college, I think a whole bunch of University of Florida Gators can vouch for the fact that if a stranger was walking and I knew they were a freshman, I saw them from afar. I was like, hey, I know you don't know me. I'm not, crazy, but I would love to give you a ride to wherever it is that you're going so that I make sure you get safely. Or for the freshman boys, like, hey, I know you don't have a car. Do you need a ride to the grocery store? I wouldn't mind taking you there. So I've always been that kind of person who was helping people. And I think my first kind of foray into something that looked like coaching was, I know in middle school, I had some athletes in my class that were like they thought that, you know, the stereotypical idea of being an athlete, these two boys, was kind of not doing their work because they were going to be so successful. And I was like, hey, we need to do this. This is why, like, you're not going to copy my paper. It's time to turn into grades. Like, let's make it happen. And then I was talking to like gang members outside of school in high school, like, hey, I'm worried about you. I want you to graduate. What are your plans a few years from now? Like, what are you
wait, what?
So, and I was really shy. I was really nerdy. I'm still nerdy, but I cared so much about people. And I was like, no, you're not going to copy my work, you know, but I want you to be successful. Let's do it together. Let me tell you what to do. So I feel like I had kind of the core foundation of not only helping people, but caring about how they're feeling, and then trying to develop a plan for them to be successful. More practically speaking, when basically I met my husband in 2013. And at that time I was about to work on getting my MBA. I was about to take the GMAT, all this kind of stuff. Within a year of us meeting, we were married, basically, to make a long story short. So I was trying to think, how can I put together all the things that I've done working for other people and who I am into a career? And my undergraduate degree was in public relations. My graduate degree is a master's of secondary education. So I feel like my life has been tapping into the potential of people and ideas. And I felt like coaching would bring that all together. So the foundation was there from the time I was young, but I went ahead and got the professional certification, decided that this was something that I was going to do, went for it. June 20th was my last day of work in 2014. June 23rd was my first day of business for Daphne Valcin Coaching. And that week, by the end of the week, I had over 20 consultations booked. So that's how it kind of went from the path to like where I ended up in business.
Wait a second. Okay. That was a lot. Like, yeah. But okay. The thing that stuck out to me was the gang situation stuck out. Yes. But the 20 clients in 3 days. So did you transition, or did you just leave and start? Like, what was that process?
Good question. So let me give you the timeline really quick. So August 12th was my first day at my last ever full-time job. August 12th was when I met my husband, August 12th, 2014. December 2nd, my birthday of that year, I registered for my life coaching certification, like to start a 9-month program, basically. It was like around 9 months. And I registered like early before the program started. December 29th, we got engaged. Me and my husband, we met that August, right? And then June 20th was my last day of that full-time job. I met him at that job, for those who are out there hoping. So I met him at the job, June 20th, June 23rd. So June 23rd, I'm still in that life coaching certification program, right? June 23rd is when I started my business. The first time I posted about like clients, June 23rd, got my EIN. I think I like registered my bank account that day. I did my website in one day, like I did all that. But the whole time before, I was working on my certifications. I was learning how to coach. I was coaching my peers. I went through the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching. And they were like, start your business now. Like, don't wait until you finish the certification. We want you to start now. So June, like that Monday I posted, I think I had 1 or 0 people to do consultations. That Wednesday, I posted again in a different way. That's when I had over 20 people book consultation. So I had that many consultations by the end of the week. And then July, I moved from Virginia to Florida. August 10th of 2014, I got married. So I met my husband August 12th. So then 6 months later, of course, you know, we got pregnant. So most of my business, I've had a little child, or I've been pregnant as well. So it was kind of a process. The October of that year too. So June, I started my business. October, I actually got my certification. But there was a lot. There was a lot going on as I started my business. And I was definitely doing a certification months before that week where I got those clients.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. So now, were you exposed to entrepreneurship when you were younger, or is that something that was new to you?
You know what's interesting? A lot of the entrepreneurs that I know or that I look up to, whether they're multimillionaires or they're making multiple 6 figures, whatever it is, they did something when they were little that was entrepreneurial, or they have entrepreneurship in their family. So I didn't really see entrepreneurship. However, the neighborhood that I was in, our parents worked really, really hard for us. There were a lot of first generation Americans there. So I'm a first generation American. My parents are from Haiti. Our parents were working really hard for us. And so I was in the band, I was a flagette, and a lot of us didn't have money for uniforms and to go to band camp.
Did you say you were a flag girl?
Yeah, I was a flag girl. Why?
Yes.
You were a flag girl too?
Yes, I was.
Flag girls are the best. Yeah, so a lot of our parents didn't have that kind of money. So I started a Rice Krispie treat business. I created accounts. This was before like there were blogs about how to start businesses. Everybody had an envelope that was flag captain with their name and their account balance. I bought the Rice Krispie treats. We're not supposed to do this, by the way, in school. But I bought the Rice Krispie treats. I distributed the Rice Krispie treats. Everyone knew how much they needed to pay for the Rice Krispie treats. People would give me whatever it is that they raised. I would go buy more boxes for them. And then we all were able to, well, not all, but a number of us were able to raise $400 for us to go to band camp. But I basically ran the business. I would call them, hey, Erika, I'm just calling you to give you a balance, give you an update on your balance. Currently, you have about $20 in your account. If you want to take it now, or did you want to raise more? Okay, no problem. I'll be going to get more inventory, and I'll give that to you on Monday. Okay, we'll meet at the whatever. And then I created like these little scripts for fundraising. I trained the girls on how to fundraise, and we went door to door. So before you used to see like, you used to see guys like on the train station, like I'm raising money for a basketball squad. Like I created a little thing and we were out fundraising. I coordinated us fundraising on the street, no parents. And even when we went to camp, we hired someone with the money that we raised from the Rice Krispie treats to drive us to camp by ourselves. And I was the chaperone for camp all these different days. So basically I became an entrepreneur out of necessity to help people to fundraise. And I'm so thankful these parents trusted me with their children, because I definitely had them on the street. I was like, we're going to drive to the wealthy neighborhood and go door to door. Here's your paperwork. I printed out this letter for you that I created. So that was like my first foray into entrepreneurship, where I got to do something. I got to see the fruit of my labor, and I got to help other people through doing it.
Wow.
It was fun.
That sounds like it was fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. It kind of prepared you for what you're doing now.
It did, because I was the Rice Krispie treat lady, and you have to learn how to market. You gotta learn how to sell.
Right.
You gotta learn like IOUs. They're like, can I just you give me some, and then I pay you back as soon as I got it. No, but when you have the money, you can get a Rice Krispie treat, and I'll be right at lunch if you meet me at the locker. I got you. So you had to learn how to do that. You also had to learn how to deal with rejection. So we were on the street fundraising. I think if my dad knew that to this day, I'd be in so much trouble. But we were on the street fundraising, and people would look at us like, you're disgusting. Why are you asking me for money?
Oh, wow.
How dare you interrupt my day? So you get all of that. We were knocking door to door, and I know sales, like those who have a foundation in sales who are trying to be entrepreneurs, it's amazing. It's awesome, because you get used to people saying no. And you can't take it personally, or else you wouldn't be able to reach your sales goals. So yeah, it was definitely something that laid a good foundation for me. I was just talking to Dr. Erika before this. I'm still always working through like making sure I'm courageous, trying to operate fearlessly, but that definitely was really good practice.
Gotcha. And you brought two major words there that I struggle with sometimes myself, is sales and the courage. Because sales sometimes can be like a 4-letter word to some people. You know what I mean? Like it's scary. It doesn't feel right sometimes. And I think it depends on the perspective that you're coming from and what you're selling and how you feel about what the product that you're selling. How did you get over kind of that idea of sales, not Rice Krispie treats, but now selling like coaching and helping people? Because some people don't think coaching matches like, how am I trying to say this? It's not something you can put a dollar value on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. There was a gentleman named, there is a gentleman named Rory Vaden, who I followed for years towards the beginning of my business. And he teaches about a concept called servant selling, which I believe is a concept like a lot of other people teach about as well. The way that I was able to get over that, because my first, let me tell you, even though I had over 20 sessions booked, right, consultations, I only one of them became a client because I did not know how to sell. So I had to learn how to sell. And the way that I got comfortable with it was realizing I'm not really selling something. I'm not trying to get someone to buy something that is not good for them. Instead, I am helping people. I'm serving them through helping them to get what it is that they feel they need in order for them to be successful. So the way that I shifted that in my mind was when I'm talking to somebody about my services, I'm genuinely trying to find out what is it that they're experiencing, and is what I'm offering helpful for whatever it is that is. And if it's helpful, then letting them know how I feel I could serve them, maybe even giving them multiple options, only if it's a need for them. If I feel like it's going to be a good fit. There are certain calls that I have where I'm like, I don't think this would be a good for you. Here's another route. Here's some resources. Here's something that I think that you should do before you pursue coaching. So for me to be able to feel good about it, I had to feel like I'm doing people a wonderful service through connecting them through what I can offer them.
Right. Right. No, I think that's a great point. You know, selling and serving your clients and knowing who you are as a coach or as an entrepreneur and what you can and cannot do for them, and making sure that's clear to them so that you're helping them, but you're also sort of helping yourself in terms of making sure that you are providing the services that you know you can provide. So I love that. Love that.
Thank you.
So now you've been in business for 6 years now. And you've been an entrepreneur before with the Rice Krispies. So is there anything that you think people don't understand about like entrepreneurship, or something that they have a misconception about? Because I know I had my own misconceptions before I stepped into this world. So what do you think one of the major misconceptions is?
Sure. I'll use myself as an example.
Okay.
So what I thought was, because I had such a good reputation, in my opinion, with my colleagues, and I heard that I was a really good coach from my colleagues when I was doing my coaching certification, and my coaching mentors, staff were in that certification. I thought that because all of those things were true, that as soon as I started, it was going to be easy to have clients and start a business. How hard could it be?
Right.
But I was
you are the Rice Krispie queen.
I was so wrong. So what a misconception is that you can be a successful entrepreneur and not understand sales, marketing, or operations. I think that all three of those things are super important. Or you can be a successful entrepreneur and not be disciplined in managing your time. So I was just talking to one of my clients. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing, but I was just talking to her this morning about how if entrepreneurship is really something that she wants to do, she has to be clear that her entrepreneurial endeavor is now her job. The deadlines that she sets for herself are as important or more important than the deadlines your boss used to set for you. And so at this point, you can make a decision to be accountable to yourself, be disciplined with your time management, even though we all fall short, right? We're all imperfect, but trying to do that. Or if it doesn't, like if it totally doesn't work out and you spend like a year and you find that you're hardly doing very much like for your business, you may want to consider transitioning back to a career. Not that it's a horrible thing. Like I told her, I'm team, get a paycheck, get a regular paycheck. If that's for you, go for it. But if entrepreneurship is really what you want, then you have to treat it with as much respect. And somebody I really respect said this, treat it with as much respect or even more respect than you would your full-time job. So I think those are the misconceptions around sales, marketing, operations, and even time management in business.
Yeah, I would agree. And I'll even give a different spin to time management, because there's the piece of knowing how to balance your time and give your time to your own business like you would for an employer. But there's also the other side of that, where being an entrepreneur, you can be on all day, every day, and you get kind of sucked into your own world of just working constantly. So that's the flip side of it too, I think.
That's very true. Yeah, that's true. Before I had my first child, I was working about 60 hours a day. I'm sorry, not a day. Woo, my bad, y'all. Woo, no such thing. I was working 60 hours a week. There we go. It was a little too much. And even for some reason during the pandemic, I had been working more than I have ever worked. So I was working very late nights, which is not healthy. So just like you said, like you got to learn how to also balance. And for me, the key to pulling back And I went from 60 hours a week to 12 hours because I had my first child and I didn't know what I was doing, which is okay again, moms. Okay, that's okay. And then I scaled up to about 25 hours and I kept it there for about 2.5 years. But I went from 60 to 25 and was able to make like a salary. The average, I think it's the average, the median salary for coaches in the US, I made above that working around 25 hours a week on average from eliminating the things that were not necessary that I was doing before. And I didn't even realize that they weren't necessary at the time. But when I had no choice but to work less, I was able to learn what I needed to eliminate from my schedule.
Gotcha. Prioritizing. Yeah. How did it feel like going from 60 to 25 or going from 60 to 12 to 25? Did that add some stress or like, because for me, that's been a process. I'm like, I have to do it. It has to get done now. And, letting go. So how did that work?
At first it was very stressful. Actually, it sounds like kind of glamorous, like 60 to 25 hours. But that's a good question. It was extremely stressful because I was used to owning my time. Like, if I want to stay up late, I stay up late. If I want to wake up early, I wake up early. If I want to take a nap, I take a nap. And then all of a sudden this little baby comes and the baby's like, no, you were wrong about that. I own your time now. And I was like, oh, no. Anyway, I dramatized it a little bit. But so when I went down to 12 hours, it felt devastating. I was like, can I really do this anymore? One of my clients actually emailed me after she had a baby. I never forget it. She said, Daphne, is it possible for me to really still pursue my purpose and be a mom? I was like, oh, man, it is. But after you have your child, for me, it felt like it wasn't. Felt like it wasn't possible. I was like, how can I do this at 12 when I was doing it with 60 hours. So when I got to 25 hours, I still was like, man, I really wish I could work more. Woe is me. I wish I could work like everyone else. And this is not a good thing. But then eventually I was like, you know what? 25 hours a week is a great opportunity for me to figure out how to optimize my time to be able to do as much as I can in my business that is necessary within this time. So then I coined this phrase for the year. One of my good friends, every year he has like a mantra. So my mantra for the year was nice, but not like, what is nice, but not necessary. And I would say to myself, nice, but not necessary. One of my clients was like, your Instagram isn't that cute. And I was like, nice, but not necessary to myself. My Instagram is much cuter now. But back in the day, it was all Bible scriptures. And then occasionally like me, like pregnant picture, me and my husband. So so it was not clear that I had a business, but I was like, nice, but not necessary. And I got up to a nice revenue without doing certain things that others were like, oh, you gotta have this, I didn't have an opt-in page. Now it would have been nice to have all these things, like a what is it called? Like a free opt-in, like a lead, all these kinds of things. Lead magnet, didn't have it for a long time. I didn't even have my logo for my business until maybe 2 or 3 years into business. But nice, but not necessary. So I had to figure out what is essential, which again, as a new entrepreneur, it wasn't clear, which is why I was working 60 hours a week. I just thought everything was essential. Like, I have to get this email out tonight or else something that's going to happen. Right. But so once I figured that out, the 25 hours felt good. But for what I'm doing in this season, I had to scale back up to about 40 hours a week. And then my prayer is that I can scale back down to the 25 and spend more time with the kids, my husband, and myself.
Gotcha. No, yeah, that's real, because I feel that all the time. It's like, it has to get done. This has to get done. I have to have that. That's what you need to build a business, because that's what you hear, so that's also a misconception, I think, in terms of this whole sphere of entrepreneurship. And you really don't know it until you get into it and until you try it. It's like a rite of passage almost, I feel like sometimes, kind of thrown into the sharks. So
okay. Exactly. Yeah, I thought everything was important because all the marketers and sales people were like, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. And I was like, I gotta have that. What am I gonna do? But once I tested things out, I was like, oh, I don't think I really need this. I think I need this. Yeah, it's true.
And I think you brought up a good point that may keep some people fearful from trying their own business. To your client, you said, do this for a year and then figure out if it is for you, if it's not for you, or whatever. And there is no shame in having to go back to your job. And that played in my mind for a long time when I was considering leaving. It's like, oh my gosh, what if I have to go back to corporate? What are people going to think? But it's life. And either you go back and you go back for good, or you go back and you rework and you figure out what didn't work for your business and you move forward and keep going and eventually leave your business again or leave corporate again, if that's what you need to do. But it's your life and you figure it out.
Yes, Dr. Erika. Yes, I read somewhere you either win or you learn a lesson.
Yep.
Right. That one I think is a game changer. And I also think another thing that's game changing is I wish I remember there's an article and videos from elderly people who are like in hospice or like just in the last years of their lives. And I remember the article that I read said, what are your regrets or what advice do you have for people? And one of those things they said was, live your life not for other people. When it comes to what other people think you should do or how they think you should be, but they wish they would have lived their lives doing some of the things that they had dreamed of, right? Or their vision, or just trying new things. So I definitely think that one of the reasons why people don't want to go back to work is judgment. Like they want that paycheck. They're like, you know what? Let me go back to corporate America. But then they don't go, or they're hesitant to go because they're like, but what about all the people that will think I failed? But if you just get more in the habit of doing the things that are purpose driven for you or that fill your soul, and of course, make sure that you're attending to all your responsibilities, you're paying your bills, paying off your credit, you know, making sure your family's taken care of. But I feel like you live a more full life doing those kinds of things, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I've seen articles like that, and it kind of lists like the top 10 things that people, like 80, regret doing, and not living their dreams are certainly one of those things. So yeah, okay, cool. Now, I have a question for you, and we were talking about this before, because I don't have kids, and you have 2 lovely kids, and doing all this, how in the world do you manage this? How do you do this?
That's a good question. So let me see. So one of the things I have to remember is, what is my motivation? And what do I value as I'm running my business? I don't think I'm perfect at doing this, but one of the things that I have to remember about myself is I want to be a good mom, and I want to be a good wife, and I'm Christian. I want to honor God, and I want to be successful in business. So all of those things are part of my purpose. If I forget and I'm like, my only thing for me, this is just Daphne, is to be a good wife and nothing else matters, then I would live my life differently. And I don't think I would like to live my life that way. I got to honor God no matter what it is that I do. And even with my business, I had to figure out, well, how do I honor God in my business, right? So one of the biggest things for me to remember in order to do all of this well is to think, how can I have a good business and do all of these other things? Because I don't want to forget about my kids in the process for what I feel they need, right? So here's how I do it. Number one, this is the practical stuff for the mamas who are watching. They're like, I don't know if I can do it. Number one, I got a team of support. So in order for me to be able to do this interview right now, my husband had to take care of dinner time with the kids by himself. He had to put them to sleep by himself, right? In order to make this interview happen today. During the day, I work from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. usually. That's when the babysitter is here. So we have a babysitter. She's part of the team. So I try to work without a babysitter. Didn't work. So my children, they don't just sit on the side. Yes, Stephen. Stephen says so true. So they don't just sit down and do their own thing. They don't even just watch TV on their own for a long, long, long time. They want to call me. They want to interact with me. So we got a babysitter. And then right after the babysitter leaves, every day between 1:30 p.m. and 2 p.m., I do story time with my oldest. Just me and her, one-on-one. And then after they both wake up, I try and make sure, because it's nap time, right? At that time, I make sure I'm present. Years ago, when I was working way less, Tuesdays and Thursdays, me and my oldest, it was just her around. We went to the beach. We went to the playground. I live in Miami. We went to the beach. We went to the playground. We ate breakfast together, even though it was really hard. And she was, walking all over the seats and stuff. We ate breakfast together. We had a morning together every Tuesday and Thursdays. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is when I worked. So figuring out who your support team is, figuring out what does it mean to you to be a good mom, because everybody's going to have a different, or dad, everybody's going to have a different definition. Watching your kids to see what they need. At one point, we didn't have babysitters that I thought were as great. So I decided that I was going to work way less and then work at night. And then I think using your time wisely and realizing that if you have kids, you're probably going to have to be doing some extra sacrificing. Like you're going to be working when you're very uncomfortable. You're going to be tired. You're going to be worn out. Most likely, if you have little ones like me, you're going to be tired. You're going to be worn out. And you got to get it together and work. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to do that, right? But you're going to have to make it work most likely because you're doing a lot. Or like for those who have their kids in school full time, that can be a little easier, but still it requires like for you to be giving a certain amount of energy. So those are some things that I have kept in, in my mind. Just figuring out who I want to be as a parent, as a person, making sure that I got the support team together, knowing that I might be tired in doing certain things. I finished my application to be a contractor, for example, doing nap time with my oldest, one arm on her, one arm on the computer. One arm was hurting and I was just like finishing up the application to be a U.S. contractor years ago. It was not comfortable at all. When she was born, I would be working, her laying on my lap and me typing over her to try to stay quiet. It was not comfortable. But laying that foundation was able to allow me to be doing the things I'm doing today. So, yeah, so those are a few tips I have about, doing this when you're a parent, but it definitely can be a little bit challenging.
Okay. So I want to pose this question to the people that are watching. We talked about time management and, how we deal with all these different pulls that we have in our life. What's the biggest challenge that you guys have out there with managing your time or, being overwhelmed and things like that? I want to kind of hear from you guys as well. So let us know in the comments.
Nice.
While they are doing that, I wanted to come back to your point about, you having your daughter in your arm and then sort of filling out an application. And that speaks to me to the commitment. And I think sometimes people go into these situations of entrepreneurship and they focus so much on just being motivated, but motivation fails. So how do you how did you get that commitment to do that?
Very good question. So 6 months into having my business, I was ready to close the doors because money was coming in. I was having more clients, but I wasn't able to pay all the bills with that. And I was tutoring on the side since I realized the first month, okay, I need to have more of a cushion. So I was tutoring. And I told my husband, maybe I heard wrong, from the Lord. And I thought I was going to be an entrepreneur and maybe I just need to go back to work and that's okay. And my husband, when I first met him and told him a few months later that I was going to, do life coaching, he was like, what is a life coach? And I told him what a coach was. And he was like, that sounds like a pastor. And I was like, no, it's different. So he was not pro team coach. But at that point, when I pulled him to the side and I was like, hey, I don't think this is something I need to be doing. He said, this is what you said you were going to do. So how long do you think you need to grow your business to a point where you feel comfortable, right, to be able to evaluate if this is something you want to do? And I said, okay, 6 months. So 6 months from then, I was able to leave a 20-hour-a-week tutoring position that I had while I was growing my business. And it was 2 or 3 months after that, I was able to let go of my last one-on-one tutoring client and just go full throttle into my business. So what motivated me then was his support. And I think something else that motivates me even more than that is my spiritual foundation. If I feel like this is what I feel like God is calling me to do, then I'm going to try my best to do it. That's in everything. If I meet somebody randomly and I feel like God is calling me to help them, I'm going to try my best to help them. Gotcha. So I listen to this. It's I call it a slow inspiration mix is what I call it. It's mostly gospel music. I think it's all gospel music on YouTube, right? So it's on my YouTube channel. I listen to that mix like almost every day, I think, when I was launching my business. Shekinah Glory, yes, it's a gospel song that is like saying, will your heart and mind say yes? Will my spirit say yes? Like, and I'm like, yes, I'm saying yes, Lord, I'm going to do this for you. I got it. I'm going to do it. And I was all the time, I was like, I feel like this is what I'm led to do. At the same time, let me look at the signs to see, am I wrong? Because maybe I'm listening wrong. So basically, I'm motivated spiritually. And then my husband also has played a nice part in pushing me and motivating me as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Right. We have a comment in here from Pam about, she says, interruptions that cause you to readjust constantly. And your own work business is hard work, right? But do you feel like you are working? Okay, so we'll answer the first one first. Who is late? Okay. So interruptions that cause you to readjust. Any suggestions that come to your mind, Daphne? About how,
go ahead, what were you going to say?
About how to address that, like if you're overwhelmed and sort of time management?
Yeah. So the Pomodoro method of time management is something that for a lot of my clients has been really helpful. One client used the Pomodoro method and a number of other things that we worked on. So I should have said this too. So I do coaching that is associated with career and business. Some clients are career coaching. They're trying to transition into a new job. Some are executive coaching. They're in a leadership position and they're, trying to just do an amazing job, strategy, priorities, those kinds of things. And then some are business coaching. They're either going from a vision to a business or they have a business and they're trying to make more profitable. So one of these clients was trying to have a more profitable business. She started, I just called her today to say hello. But when she came to me, she was bringing in $3,000 in revenue, but she was she had $3,000 worth of expenses as well, right? And so 3 months into us working together, her revenues were on average $20,000 a month. And then at the 9-month mark, it hit $52,000. But one of the things that we had her do was the Pomodoro method. And let me explain what it is. Dr. Erika.
Method. Yeah. So that's exactly what I was thinking of. So
creatives, like people who get distracted at times, like all those kinds of things, you make yourself basically work 30 minutes in a row, at least, right? Then you take a break. You do whatever you want, but you time it. So your break might be 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes is good. Could be 10 minutes. You could walk around. You can go make some tea. Whatever you could do in 5 minutes, you could do it. You can go to social media if you want. But at the end of that 5 minutes, you do another 30-minute burst. Then 5 minutes, 30 minutes burst, 5 minutes of break. So that way your mind, your heart gets whatever it is that you want it to do. Like if it's texting, you don't answer your text until your 30 minutes is done. You can answer your text, but then when the alarm goes back on, you go back to work. Right. So the Pomodoro method, that helped me in school when I was in college. And so it also is really, really helpful for people who have constant interruptions at work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're reading my mind, because I had a client the other day that we're trying the same thing with her, and she's using her time, her break, to be with her kids, because her interruptions are her kids, because everybody's home now. So she's going to focus, and then that break, she's going to just at least, right, hang out with her kids for a little bit, so to sort of break up her day. So I think that's a great idea. So I hope that helps, Pam. Now, her next question was, your own business is hard work, right? Yes, it is. But do you feel like you're working? So for me, I'll be honest. I don't feel like I'm working until it gets to social media. Yes. I've never been a social media chick. So it is the hardest thing for me to do is post stuff, because I was never a Facebook girl or Instagram girl. So that's where it becomes hard for me, is actually sitting down and it's not even creating the content. It's just posting it and where do I post now? What time of day do I post this? Which platform do I use? LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. That's where it becomes work for me. But the rest of it, I love everything else that I do. I love the shows that I do. I love interacting with the guests. I love the writing. I love sharing different tips and helping all the women in terms of getting to where they want to get to. So for me, that piece doesn't feel like work. And I think that's why I end up working so many hours, is because I get caught up in just doing what I love. So I don't know what your thoughts are on Pam's question.
Well, at first I want to say thank you so much for doing this work in a way where it is something that you're passionate about and that I feel like you have fun doing and that you're inspired to do, which is really good. So for me, the coaching part is the part I like the best. Like, it does not feel like work. It feels like I am talking to my extended family. It feels wonderful to coach in the moment of coaching. But in running a business, there's also finance and compliance. And like, Dr. Erika was saying, there's marketing and the sales piece, even in the discovery sessions, because those are basically coaching sessions as well. They have coaching within them. I feel good about doing those. But a lot of the other stuff isn't always the funnest for me. But I know that every job, whether you're an entrepreneur or a business person, has a percentage of the things that are part of the job that you may not totally like. But let me tell you what I've been doing more of this year: outsourcing. Ooh, I've been outsourcing. Oh, let me give you all a secret. I'm a creative. I love singing and dancing.
I was feeling with you.
Okay, so Fiverr has been a close friend of mine since the beginning of my business. I've done a few things here and there on Fiverr, but last year I made it an intention to do more outsourcing, including outsourcing on Fiverr. So, for example, editing a certain kind of video, I might pay $15 to someone on Fiverr, and then for me, it might take me an hour or 2 hours, depending on the video. Or even to, what else have I used? To do a certain graphic or my website. I paid $63 to somebody on Fiverr to do my website. I tried to do it by myself, and I was like, this is not going to look good. So I got someone to do the initial kind of framework, and then now I update it on my own. So certain things don't feel as fun for me, but a lot of things do. And so my husband, I was telling him the other day, he was like, I don't think you should work on Saturdays. I wasn't working on Saturdays before, but now I'm doing like professional development. I love learning. Learning is so much fun for me. Always has been. So I'm like, it's actually not, it doesn't feel like work. It's actually fun for me to kind of take a break to go learn something. Like, that is a lot of fun for me. So he was like, okay. But so to answer that question, it depends on what part of the work, but the actual services that I'm providing are the funnest part for me. Right. I'm most excited.
Yeah. Thank you, Pam. All right. I'm trying to see if there's any other question here. Discipline. I'm thinking about the next task before completing the one I am on. So that's like a little bit of focus there. I have to think about that one. You have any thoughts right off the bat, Daphne?
Yes. So here's something that I do. I just wrote a blog post about this. So basically, one of the things that I do that's very helpful, well, there's two things that I do. One is, I don't think there's a name for this method, so I'm just going to tell you what it is. So in the evening time, at the end of the day, when you have a whole bunch of tabs open, you just put open the tabs that you absolutely need for the next day. So that might be 2 or 3 tabs, maybe just one, even better. The one thing that you need to work on in the morning is the only thing up on your computer the next morning. So that is a good way to start out making sure that you're on the right foot, you're focused. The second thing I would talk about is time blocking. So with time blocking, this is something I was missing out on when I started my business. One, I was just like, yeah, when my husband's not home, that's when I work. And then I was napping, I was cleaning the house, I was doing all kinds of stuff, right? So I didn't have good time management. Even though I thought I was such a good time manager, I was for other people at their jobs, but I wasn't for myself. So then I started scheduling like, maybe if I schedule 4 hours for operations, like 3 hours for marketing, but I would literally be like, what do I do now? Like, marketing for 3 hours, like, what should I do? I was very confused. I was like, maybe I'll organize my files on my computer. Is that marketing? Yeah. So that's really bad. So what I do now, if that's you, it's okay though, because we can always get better. So what I do now is that my calendar basically is blocked into color-coded blocks, right? Some are for marketing, some are for what's called revenue generating activities that are sales. Some are for coaching, some are for client work, for example, some are for professional development. And I'm very specific about what I'm doing. So I might say marketing, post on Facebook about a client win. That's it. Or I might say revenue generating activities. Follow up with Lisa about starting an executive coaching program. So that is my whole schedule. Every single week, every block is scheduled with specifically what's going to happen for my business. And then with the kids, even if there's a certain day where I'm not really sure, like Sundays, since we're not going to physical church, we have kids church, we watch regular church, and I need to make sure that the day is scheduled so it doesn't feel, so I don't feel lost. Like, what do I do with the kids? Don't judge me. Don't judge me, y'all. So anyway, time blocking and closing the tabs. So I'll say a fresh start, starting with a fresh start.
Right.
Those two things are helpful.
Time blocking is great. I do that as well. And I think the other thing I would add is if you are in the middle of a task and you start to think of something else, I keep a notebook with me or next to me. So if something pops into my head, I will jot that down as a task that I need to do or complete so I can get it out of my head and I can still remain focused on what I'm doing. So that's the other thing
that sounds really, really good. Yeah. And I think, so for me, when something pops up like that, I'll schedule it like 3 months later or for next year. Like Erika's like, ooh, this conference is amazing. I'll just be like, 2021, February, it's a conference. And then that's it. So I'll do that too. Because like Dr. Erika said, research shows if you can get it out of your head, it's just better. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. All right. I can't believe we're almost running out of time, Daphne. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me get us back on track. So you already answered one of my questions, which was kind of to help people understand the difference between executive coaching and career coaching and business coaching. So what else is going on in your business? Like when do they come to you? Like, how would I know that I need a Daphne in my life?
That's such a good question. So people would come to me if they're feeling like maybe they're doing good in whatever it is that they're doing, but they could do much greater. Maybe if they had accountability. For example, one of the people just put in the comments that time management is her struggle. So one of my clients, she felt like that was her struggle too a few weeks ago. But every week, we talk every week. And every week, I'm like, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? She actually asked me to text her every day. So every day she gets a text from me. Hey, how is everything going? Did you start your work for the day? Okay, sounds good. And actually the woman who went from 3,000 to 20,000 and 52,000, I was like, why do you think, you're being so successful? I was curious. And one of the things she said, because I know, and she was in her 60s, but she said, because I know that when I get on the phone with you, I need to have my work done. And I was like, little old me. But anyway, so if someone feels like they need more accountability, they want someone to check in with them to see what's going on, to help them think about why they're thinking about things in certain ways, to kind of shift the way that they're thinking when it comes to executive coaching, or they know they can do way better, but they're not really sure how, and they want someone to kind of work with them on the strategy and implementation and holding them accountable, or providing resources based on what I've seen in the past. Those are a few reasons. And I told someone, even with business, there's a lot of free resources online. But if you're wanting basically an accountability partner, a strategic partner, someone to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to move forward, you may benefit from a coach. For career coaching, I think it's a question of the career coach, if you get a really great one, has a lot of the solutions to some of the things that could be blocking you from getting the job that you desire, whether it's your interview skills, your resume skills, your online brand, your networking skills online, like any of those things. A really great career coach would be able to help you in all of those areas so that you have the things that you need to be competitive. So if you're not sure why you're not getting interviews or enough interviews, or why you're not getting the job of your dreams, all that kind of stuff, hiring someone who is able to help you as a career coach would be a good choice. So those are a few different reasons why people might come to me.
Okay. And are you doing just private coaching, or are you doing group coaching, or?
Good question. So I have a large number of one-on-one clients. I love them all. They all get a lot of attention, but I have 26 of them. So that's one-on-one. I have one contract as well, where I have clients who are part of that contract in addition to the one-on-one clients that I have. And then clients are always, so I would say maybe 60% of my clients stay or renew. And then I have a few clients, a small number of clients, they're like, I'm working with you forever. So until you don't want me anymore, I'm just gonna work with you. But there are a number of clients also that are they're closing out their packages after 3 months or 6 months. So new clients are coming in. So that's kind of how it works. And then I'm breaking into doing executive coaching for companies. So over the next few months, I hope to be bringing on different companies who are allowing me to provide executive coaching for their executives, since I'm doing that one-on-one now. And then lastly, I have 2 different offerings for groups. One, I have my free Facebook group, the Women Making Waves Collective, Career Advancement and Leadership for Women. So I have that Facebook group. It's completely
doing a wave like.
Did you know I did pageant coaching at one time? But anyway, yes, I did. And I was a tomboy when I was little, so that's very interesting. But so I love that group. One of the things that I love doing is what Dr. Erika does, but not. I don't know if I do it as smooth as Dr. Erika now. But I interview people. I just highlight voices in the group who are going to help others to be able to advance their careers. Dr. Erika, you should be on too. But yeah, so I do that in that Women Making Waves free Facebook group. And then I also have a subscription group, which is basically like the VIP level of that group, where people do a smaller, intimate setting group coaching on a monthly basis. Lastly, next week, August 19th, for those who are watching this on the replay, August 19th, 2020, I'm launching a group for men and women. It's called the Next Level Career Advancement course. It's a group coaching and kind of course experience where we will be clarifying people's vision, their why. We'll be making sure that they have their online brand together, their LinkedIn, their resume. And then we'll also make sure they have their interviewing together. We'll make sure that they have a professional development plan, that they know how to make sure they're being perceived in a powerful way by people who are in the workplace, having a plan to navigate politics in the workplace, which for some people, they get the job, they like their job, but it's hard for them to interact well with other people, especially if they're negative. So we'll be going over that so that you can keep the job, like you'll be more likely to keep the job that you get. And then making sure that we identify what your strengths are moving forward and areas for growth to develop a professional development plan. So it's an 8-week program. I'm going to be launching that next week on August 19th. And then if it goes exceptionally well, then I'll be renewing. Hey, that'll be something that I'll be offering every few weeks or every few months, depending on how things go and how much time I want between each program. But that's the Next Level Career Advancement course.
Do you talk about negotiation?
Say it again. What'd you say?
You talk about negotiation, because I know that's something that people struggle with.
We do. Sorry. So we talk about, I make sure that I give people the foundational principles for negotiation and also defining your number. I call it your number. Like there's a minimum number. Yes. There's a perfect number. So we want to make sure we're doing the research together in that group to make sure that you come in knowing what the perfect number is and doing the research to be comfortable with whatever that number is that you want. So we'll also go over that too. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Dr. Erika.
No I'm here for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And info on that is on my website. It's daphnevalcin.com/nextlevelcareer. There's information about that there.
Okay. Great. Well, Daphne, I have one serious question left for you. Looking back over, your 6-year career as a business owner, what stands out to you as your proudest moment?
My proudest moment. I'm trying to move this so you all don't see the Miami sunshine. Okay. My proudest moment in my business. Oh, I know. Let me tell the story of one of my favorite clients. So this client came to me. So we both were trying out Thumbtack. I was trying to put my business on Thumbtack to see, how does that work? If it's a good tool. I decided I was going to offer services there, and someone, said she was interested. I was in the airport when I called her because I shouldn't have done that. But where I was in business, I was like, hey, I'm at the airport right now, but I just wanted to call you. So anyway, so I did that, and then she became my client. So she came to me for an interview prep, and instead of just interview prep, she got a lot of the things that I might be teaching in the Next Level Career course of the things that we just talked about. So she ended up, she was about to be because they were doing layoffs at her company, Fortune 500, unless she found a job. Through the interview prep, she went from not feeling at all comfortable with interviewing to being really, really comfortable, like super comfortable, and was able to find a job in another department. Years later, the whole department was laid off again. And this time, she basically was on severance pay, had a little daughter at this point, and wanted to support her, of course, came to me again. And she was able to get a Fortune 500, a job in another Fortune 500, actually a Fortune 50, and a $20,000 salary increase with a high school degree only. So she was making, yes, girl. So $20,000 salary increase from it was already a good salary. And now she had a better salary. She had worked her way up in the first company over about 2 years. And it was really important for her to also stay local because she's a caretaker to her parents too. So she got the $20,000 salary increase. Then the first week at her job, her boss said that she was thinking about her for a position that would be a $30,000 salary increase as well. So that was my best. That was my major like favorite story, because she would text me and be like, if it wasn't for you, that. So I really, really, really enjoy that story, because I think sometimes people feel like they have to be a certain way in order to be successful. And she was able to work her way up in the first job. And then she was able to defy the odds that because she didn't have these credentials that she was going to have to do. She was about to do like some like jobs that you get maybe like after high school kind of thing. But then I was like, no, let's shoot for your dream jobs. What are your dream companies? Let's make it happen. And she did it, and she's doing well. So that's my favorite story, just watching that client be able to do their thing over the years. And you can do it too. If you're listening right now and you're like hesitant about where you're at, or if you've been impacted by the pandemic, I just want to inspire people out there that there are people who are reaching their dreams. And I feel like anyone can do this if you put in the work that's needed to get to where it is that you want to go.
Love it. That was a great last answer. Thank you. Thank you. Now, if you've seen the show, then you know I can't let you go just yet, right? So we always end our show with our Fab 4 questions. So I'm going to throw them at you. You know I'm kind of odd, so I can't just end the show in a normal manner. But they're really 7 questions, so don't judge me. But they're just questions, just whatever comes off the top of your mind, first thing you think of. Okay?
Okay.
All right. First question. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Healing. Should I elaborate or no?
No, well, no, because we're running out. I want to be honored, be true to my time that I gave you. So yeah. So healing. Okay. All right. If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou, and Barack Obama.
Oh, can I just be there? I'll even be a waitress, you know. Me, you, Oprah, Maya, Barack. Yeah. Can Auntie Michelle be there too, though? Can she come too? Okay. All right. Now, you talked about songs earlier, but if you had to pick one song to represent your life, what would it be?
I feel like There's Hope, India.Arie.
Oh, I like that one. There's Hope. I don't know the words, but I know the beat. Hey, okay. I like that one. That's the first time I've heard that one, so good. All right. The last question is 3 parts, and just finish the statement. I love
Jesus.
Okay. I dream about
peace.
And I am
love.
I love it. Yes, Daphne. Thank you so much for being here. If people want to reach out to you, stay in touch with you, tell us how they can do that.
That link that Dr. Erika dropped, the facebook.com/Daphne Valcin Coaching, is a great way to reach me. Or if you go to my website, daphnevalcin.com. So it's my name, daphnevalcin.com. You'll be able to find me there. My email address is daphne@daphnevalcin.com if you want to contact me directly, but you'll be able to get to me through my website as well.
Gotcha. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful having you here, and you're just an awesome guest. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, and thank you guys out there for watching. If you have missed any of the other shows, be sure to head over to our website, drerikabydesign.com, where you can find all the episodes of all the shows you missed. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for our By Design Digest so you can stay up to date with what's going on with the shows, any things that are happening, get some great tips about how to live your life by design, and also stay up to date with some things that I have in my pocket that are coming up soon that you don't want to miss. So head over to our website, drerikabydesign.com. Again, thank you all for spending some time with us. It's been great. See you next week. Same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Bye.